agreement on equal time, so please allow the witness.
Are you silencing me?
I'm not. I'm going to ask you to continue, but kindly let her to answer the questions.
I would
Thank you.
advise not trying to silence me.
Since the minister was appointed, many more people have been abused and defrauded by Canadian immigration consultants who contribute to the chaos in Canada's immigration system while the minister just lets them. Instead of taking advice experts have been giving for years, which is to make immigration consultants report to lawyers, the minister said, "This is fine," this summer, and doubled down on a system that is clearly not working. The Prime Minister chose an incompetent minister to sit in one of the most important files in government. Why?
The Honourable Minister of Immigration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Prime Minister for choosing me to be the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship. Very proud of my record when I served as Nova Scotia's Minister of Immigration. Protecting prospective newcomers from those who try to take advantage of them is critically important, and that is why we've established the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants to regulate consultants and protect the public, and this is something that we are very serious about, and we will ensure that it gets done.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
The minister mentioned her record as immigration minister in a provincial government. During that time, a Nova Scotia auditor found that there were the following issues: no process to determine provincial labour market needs and assess whether those were being addressed by Nova Scotia's provincial nominee program, and none of the 8 recommendations from a 2020 fraud risk assessment had been implemented. So I'll ask the same question. Why did the Prime Minister put an incompetent minister into this position?
We start with Ms. Rempel Garner for 6 minutes.
Hey, that's something everyone can
Thank you,
enjoy.
Chair. Minister, we have a chain migration bill in front of us today at a time when your department's been issuing record numbers of all sorts of temporary foreign visas. We have a housing, jobs and housing, healthcare crisis. So the Parliamentary Budget Officer has estimated that at least 115,000 people would become Canadian citizens under this bill, this chain migration bill. Where are they going to live?
Thank you very much for the question. This is what we know on volumes. From January 2024 to July 2025, the end of that, those were when the interim measures were implemented by the department. The department received over 4,200 applications from those individuals.
Thank you, Chair. So there's a lot of people that you are allowing in this chain migration bill. No, this is my time. Where are they going to live?
Point of order. I'm sorry. I will stop the clock, Ms. Rempel Garner. Yes, point of order.
It is a point of order, Chair, because we didn't hear the full answer. The member had the chance to complete her question. We need to hear the answer from the minister in order to have
that point of order.
It
is my time. It is my time.
It is your time, Ms. Rempel Garner, but please allow the witness to finish, to complete their sentences.
I gave her equal time, which you should have been looking at. Thank you, Chair.
We don't have an agreement on equal time, so please allow the witness.
Are you silencing me?
I'm not. I'm going to ask you to continue, but kindly let her to answer the questions.
I would advise not trying to silence me. Where are they going to live, Minister? All the people that you're letting in on this chain migration bill, where are they going to live? CMHC says housing starts are down by 16%. So where are you putting 115,000 auto-liberal Canadians?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to remind the members that this bill was struck down in December 2023. We are here to remedy a situation, and if we do not act, then we are in jeopardy.
Thank you. On that point, why didn't you appeal the court ruling? You didn't. You just let it go.
So again, Madam Chair, we're here today to talk on this bill that is in front of us. It is an important legislation that strikes a balance to protect Canadian values as well as Canadian families.
On this bill, you just said, though, that the bill is here because of a court ruling. The court didn't write this legislation. So I'll ask you again, where are these people going to live that you are putting in this bill that the courts didn't write, that you didn't appeal a ruling on?
So thank you again, Madam Chair. The IRCCs, they've saw no surge in the interim measures, nor did they see any surge happening in 2009 and 2015 when similar legislation was in place. I also remind the member that a lot of these individuals are infants, and there's a lot of individuals that are already in Canada paying taxes
just like
as well.
IRCC didn't see the surge in like 1.5 million people, that we didn't have a place for them to live. Who's going to be their family doctor in this chain migration bill? How are these people going to get family doctors? Where?
So thank you, Madam Chair. I remind members again, without this legislation, we need to pass it to protect the value of citizenship in this country, and without it, there will be no limit on citizenship by descent for many people born to Canadian citizens abroad.
And to be clear, that's because your government didn't appeal a court ruling. They didn't use any of the tools in their toolkit. They just said, yay, chain migration. Here is a chain migration bill. So I'll just give you one more shot here. Where are how long are Canadian families going to have to wait in ER rooms because of this chain migration bill?
So, Madam Chair, Bill C-3 is a reasonable legislation that finds a limit for the first generation limit. We are required by law, by Constitution, to have proper registration in front of us, and that is why we're here today.
Yes, but you chose not to appeal a court ruling and then table a chain migration bill. That is your government's decision. So you can't answer where they're going to live. You can't answer how they're going to get a family doctor when many Canadians don't have a family doctor. Where are they going to work during the youth jobs crisis? Are they going to sit on EI benefits while you continue to issue TFW permits to Tim Hortons?
So again, as I said in my remarks, Madam Chair, there are rules in place in every province and every jurisdiction in this country, whether it's provincial and federal, in terms of who's entitled to receive what. There's age requirements, there's the requirements for paying taxes, there's so on. That is not something that, as the member suggests, there will be no surge of that happening.
But immigration levels, so you've tabled a chain migration bill. There's at least 115,000 people per the parliamentary budget officer.
Madam Chair.
Point of order. I'll stop the time. Yes, point of order.
I'm not sure what chain migration bill she's talking about. I thought we were studying C3, which is actually about
This is
Citizenship.
debate, Chair, and it's a Liberal attempt to silence
Not a
me
point of order,
because of
Mr.
their terrible
Zuberi.
immigration policy.
But thank you.
I'm just not
Please,
sure what
we will
she's
restart the
talking
time.
about. My colleague's talking about.
Chair, these Liberals, they really want to silence me because of their chain migration bill. So the minister can't answer where these people are going to live. They can't answer where they're going to get a job, and she can't answer how they're going to get a family doctor. So again, I'm just going to ask, why didn't you appeal the court ruling? I think it's because the Liberals like out-of-control immigration levels. Honestly, and also the other thing is there's no language requirements in this bill. Do you not respect the right for Canadians to at least know one of Canada's official languages?
So, Madam Chair, as I said, this bill has limits on automatic citizenship by descent. Without passing any legislation, there will be no limits. And I don't believe that is what the members are looking for.
There is no limit under this chain migration bill. You are correct. There's no language requirements, no security requirements, no nothing. And the minister can't tell us. So I'm just going to ask one more time, where are people going to live under this chain migration bill? Who is going to be their family doctor? And where are they going to work in a youth job crisis?
So thank you again, Madam Chair. I want to remind members that a lot of the people that will be caught under this legislation will be minors.
15 seconds.
And
we have a
it
youth
would be
job
also
crisis,
individuals
yes.
that are already in Canada that are already contributing to our
where are they going to live?
System as well.
There's 115,000
The ones that are
people at
in
least.
Canada already would have
But the
places
rest of
that
them,
are living.
where are they going to live?
Thank you,
Question is to the Immigration Minister. There are a staggering 300,000 people in Canada with pending asylum claims. Many of these will be bogus. And new data we obtained today shows the profound cost of this failure. Since 2016, the Liberals have increased the cost of the interim federal health program, which includes support for benefits for people who have likely made bogus claims, by nearly 1,200%. This includes massive spending on benefits Canadians aren't eligible for. Can the minister explain why?
Honourable Minister of Citizenship and Immigration.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the question. We just ran a campaign on restoring sustainability to our immigration system to ease pressure on housing and social services, something the Conservatives also voted for. Our immigration levels plan reduced targets for permanent and resident. That plan is working. New student and temporary worker admissions are down more than 60%. Asylum claims are down 1/3, and new permanent residents will be down 20% at the end of the year. With Bill C-2, we can even do more, and I urge parliamentarians to support it.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
The minister just said that the Liberals' immigration plan is, quote, working. The Liberals are spending at least $800 million this year because they allowed the asylum backlog to mushroom to nearly 300,000 people. And these are people, many of whom have bogus claims, and they allow them to stay in the country for years and years. That's why they had to increase that program to that level. This strains healthcare, it strains housing, and it makes a mockery of our once compassionate asylum system. Is this really what the minister defines as an immigration system that's working? Come on.
God damn it, that's not news. What about us?
Rempel Garner for 5 minutes.
Minister, how many people exited Canada last year?
So thank you, Madam Chair. Again, we are here today to talk about Bill C-3. It's a bill that many Canadians and many families have been waiting for many, many years.
The reason why I ask this is just to pick up on the last stream. How are you going to prove a claim that's made under this chain migration bill if it's prior to 2019 if you can't track entry and exit data? Like, don't you think that there's a pretty big potential for fraud there?
So thank you, Madam Chair. Again, the current legislation that that was struck down was found to be not acceptable. There's a lot of consequences to Canadian families that are living.
Yeah. So I get your word salad, but so let's say somebody makes a claim before that their 5 years happened before 2019, and you're not tracking exit and entry data. Like, could anybody just be like, yeah, like you said, I went to the cottage, yo. Please give me citizenship, like a Costco card, or can you tell me how fraud wouldn't happen here?
So thank you, Madam Chair. Again, like-minded countries, the M5s, all have policies that limit the passing of automatic citizenship by descent. We believe we've struck a balance here by putting a substantial connection to the country.
What's the balance? Like, if somebody's coming in prior to 2019 and you can't prove if they entered or exited, then like literally anybody could just be like, yeah, I'm Canadian, yo. Give me citizenship. This is not sus at all. Like, do you understand what you're saying here? You've introduced a chain migration bill, and you can't prove if somebody came or entered the country. Like, do you realize how ridiculous that is?
So, Madam Chair, again, I think the question is a bit ridiculous, to be quite frank.
Thank you. I will be clipping that.
Point of order.
People need to demonstrate that they have
stop
the
the clock.
substantial
Point of order.
connection.
Yes,
I
Ms.
think
Zaid.
opportunity should be provided to the witnesses to answer the questions. And I think this is not the decorum we should have in this committee. There needs to be like a question, and then there needs to be an answer.
Thank you, Ms. Zaid. Thank you. We'll allow the witness to answer the question. We will restart the time. Ms. Diab.
Actually, just point of order on that with the time stop. I would love an answer. It would be awesome. I actually agree with my colleague. I'm not getting an answer from the minister. Thank you for this point of order and raising it. I'm asking, Madam Chair, how she's going to prevent fraud on this. And you started my time. I'm making a point of order, right? So
Yes, you're asking a question.
I didn't get an answer.
So I'm going to restart your clock, and then we will have the minister respond.
Thank you.
Minister Diab.
So can I just restate the question, because my colleagues were trying to silence me? So
yes.
for people who are listening, the Liberals have tabled a chain migration bill, okay? And in order to fulfill the requirements of this chain migration bill, which will give them Canadian citizenship, they have to say that they were in Canada for 3 years. But prior to 2019, or we don't even know today, the Liberals can't prove if they were in Canada. So, Minister, how are you going to prove rampant fraud and the abuse of Canadian citizenship?
So thank you for that. We already do this for all naturalized Canadians. Applicants will be asked to submit evidence of their Canadian parents' physical presence. I mean, this is something that's been done in this country and in all countries with proof on the citizenship application.
Okay,
so,
but
you know, it would
again,
include things like
I'll
pay
stop the
stubs,
clock, but
educational
hold on.
records.
I'll stop the clock, Minister. Ms. Rempel, Garner, please allow the witness to finish.
I don't have to, Chair. On a
Please-
point of order,
please-
I do not have to let the Liberals
So here's
word salad my answers
here's
when
the-
I'm asking about the value of Canadian citizenship. Sorry, you
here
can't
is-
do that.
Here is the problem, Ms. Rempel, Garner. There is crosstalk, and it is very hard for interpreters to interpret, and it's very difficult for them to do their jobs. Kindly allow, if we could have one person at a time. Ms.
No,
Minister,
it's me. I get to ask the question again since you interrupted me again.
and then I will allow the witness to answer the question. Thank you.
Point of order. So if the witnesses answer direct questions, then we wouldn't get into these kind of situations. But if we're allowed the witnesses to continue off...
This is
standing,
debate.
then
Mr. Ma,
we're
this is not a
answering
point
the
of order.
questions.
Okay, Ms. Michelle Rempel, Garner, please go ahead.
Thank you. So, Chair, since we're not going to get an answer on, like, obviously the Liberals have written a chain migration bill that's going to allow for rampant fraud. The minister doesn't include a requirement for taking a citizenship test in this chain migration bill. She said that this bill is the right thing to do. Is it right to grant Canadian citizenship to somebody without taking a citizenship test?
So, Madam Chair, as I was saying, officers will assess the totality of the information that's presented when an application in front of them and determine whether or not they're satisfied and whether or not the individual should be given.
But there's no citizenship test. So are you saying it's the right thing to do to give Canadian citizenship to somebody who can't speak one of Canada's official languages and doesn't have to take a citizenship test with no security screening? Is that what you are telling this committee that we are supposed to vote for with this chain migration bill?
Madam Chair, this bill was drafted to have reasonable limits that would surpass the constitutional rights of people. It strikes a balance by protecting the value of Canadian citizenship.
Wouldn't
gives
you
fairness to
argue-
Canadian families.
Wouldn't you argue that
Ms.
not?
Rempel, Garner, please allow the witness to answer the question.
She is word salading.
Please let her finish
listen.
the question.
Okay, Minister, yes or no? Do you think it's right to give Canadian citizenship to somebody without them having to take a citizenship test?
This bill is here to protect Canadian values, and I believe it is. We've struck a balance. If you have any amendments, we are, the committee's happy to look
So you'd
at
support
those.
an amendment to make somebody take a citizenship test?
I said if there's amendments,
No, I'm
that's
asking you
why
now.
the committee
That's a yes?
is here. So what I'm saying is this
That's a
bill
no.
protects the value of citizenship, and it is something
It's a
that
yes,
is
no?
very important
Ms.
to all
Rempel, Garner,
Canadians.
please allow her to answer.
Would you accept an amendment to make people take a citizenship
15
test via
seconds.
this bill? Yes or no?
It's not up to me to accept or reject. This is the committee's findings. I was on a committee
Why
in the
didn't you
last
draft it with a citizenship
Parliament.
test?
So again, we've done jurisdictional scan, and officials are here to talk. Happy to give you what
That's 5
many
minutes.
other countries around
That's
the
5
globe
minutes.
have
Thank you,
in
Minister.
reference to this.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Ms. Rempel, Garner. We go to our next questioner.
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
So the minister claims, she just claimed that there's no problem, that everything's okay. So she's spreading misinformation because the Parliamentary Budget Officer's report says that the Liberals' current immigration plan, the one that she just said is working, leaves a massive housing gap because the minister is still setting levels way too high. If Canada's to be a place where everyone can succeed, we need to ensure that everybody has a place to live and call home. So why is the minister spreading misinformation while still welcoming unsustainable numbers of people to Canada when Canada's in the middle of a housing crisis?
Honourable Minister of Citizenship and Immigration.
Mr. Speaker, let me repeat it in English so she and other members understand from her party. Our measures are working. In the first quarter of 2025, Canada recorded the smallest non-pandemic population gain since government started to keep records, 1946. We're following through on our immigration plan, and that is reducing our temporary resident number and our permanent resident number by 20%. Our plan is clear to bring sustainability to our system, attract best talent. Our student and temporary worker admissions are down by 50%. Asylum claims are down by a third, and rates have down to 1,100.
The honourable member for
I'm not sure what on track means when there's 600 serious criminals who are non-citizens who should be deported but are on the streets. We asked these questions in May and in June. The minister had the entire summer to come up with a plan. These are people who have been convicted of crimes like sexual assault, and he lost them, and he can't find them. Why won't the Prime Minister fire his public safety minister? Over the summer, it was revealed that the public safety minister lost track of 600 non-citizens with serious criminal records who were set to be deported. Over 70% of these people have been convicted of serious crimes, such as sexual assault. Right now, these people are still roaming our streets. The minister had one job, and it's to keep Canadians safe. He's failed it. Will the Prime Minister fire his public safety minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, this year we are on target to remove over 20,000 individuals who do not meet the requirements to be in Canada, Mr. Speaker. It is a record level of removals.
Broken, Canada's broken, and Canada's broken because we're stupid. Okay, Canada's.
I think it is extraordinary that Mark Carney has become the Prime Minister of Canada. He did a terrible job in Britain.